Cute cats hanging out. Squirrel, what do you think? Oh, that's very cute. She's kind of confused when I'm by her and I'm not petting her, just holding a phone. She's like, what? You're supposed to pet me all the time. It's so funny that animals like cats and dogs are literally called pets. They're for petting. They love it. You love it. What? Why? What I am. Somewhere long ago, vertebrates figured out it feels really good. Cat's purring never gets old. It's always like, oh, good, you're purring. Look at this beauty. Sorry, this channel's just going to become the cats. Squirrel, it's too cute. I'm sorry. Stop. Like, her facial expressions crack me up. She looks so contented. Shaggy Shanks. Squirrel, too cute. I want to make merch on this channel just so I can have shirts with you on them. Now the last of the antique books. And some objects from the shelves. Already looked at those in previous videos. Alright. Let's start with this old classic, Revival Gems #2. Everyone knows about this book. Just kidding. Look at this thing. Ephemera. Published by Samuel W. Beasley and Son from Chicago. 1927, the year Lindbergh flew across the Atlantic. Let's take a look. Front cover comes off. Note, the amen at close of each hymn is optional. Evangelistic meetings. So, like, this is the kind of stuff that the church services in Elmer Gantry would have had. Just gotta love a really old object. So this is 98 years old. This is a beautiful old book. I think this came from a free box outside of a community center, and sometimes you get books from really old people's collections at those free boxes. That's ageist. No, it is facts. I've gotten some like really old 1905. Like, most people aren't just giving away antique books, you know. Daughters of the American Revolution, 1905. Good title. Yes. Columbus. Guess he has a part of history. By 14 writers eminent as educators, historians, and statesmen. It's illustrated. Colonists and the Indians, Pilgrim Fathers, the Dutch in New Netherland. But I really like this. What? Some old bookmark. That could be really old. That could be a 100-year-old bookmark. This is cool because this is arguably the oldest work of pure nature writing. Just a description of the nature around this guy's neighborhood. I bought this after reading Methuen Standard Library. Arbor Scientific. 1906. Yet, I feel like I wasn't particularly trying to buy an old copy of this online. This is just like the one I could find. It's not always the easiest book to find, I guess. Here's something about deer hunting in the area. Deer poaching. I definitely want to read this sometime. 1906. So is that like 117 years old? Is that old? Not as old as this. History of the Girondists, Volume 2. This one's not just old, this is ye old. Look at this, it's one of those Indiana School Library books with that book plate. Incredible. Silas M. Browning, what an old name, Atkinsville. Okay, that's incredible. Read by A. Lucas, April 27th, 78? Incredible, that is so great. What? This is the coolest thing I own as of this moment. I do want to sell as many of the antique books as I can if anyone's interested, but that makes this one a real prize. Somebody wrote that in 1878 in pencil or pen, and it's still here in this book. No, that's pencil. Crazy. Beautiful spine, or not spine, edge. 1854, another 1854 book. History of the Girondists, or Personal Memoirs of the Patriots of the French Revolution from unpublished sources by Alphonse de Lamartine. 3 volumes. This thing's just amazing. 1854. Let's do some math. This book is 171 years old. I just got like a weird chill. Ancient. How many people have read this, experienced this? I could read it and have a similar experience to them. I have to be really careful not to trash it. I mean, the pages are in good shape. I mean, I can tell there was damage of this or that kind at points, but legible. One of the 3 oldest books I own, for sure. Now, you don't often see a book with a dust jacket from this era, but this is a real collector's item that I ordered. This is Carl Taylor's only published book. It was published posthumously by Scribner's. Max Perkins was his editor. It was about his anthropological observations of the Philippines and a little bit of New Mexico. This came out in 1936. In 1937, a movie about him came out called The Lash of the Penitentes, but it was banned in New Mexico because it was kind of sexploitation. It had a lot of topless whipping and topless crucifixion scenes added in, and his girlfriend, who was not even a character in real life, being hung on the cross in his sake, like basically naked. And you can see some of that in the trailer for The Lash of the Penitentes 1937, which is on YouTube. But if you watch the actual movie, it's like half an hour long. Anyway, I read large passages of this book. About a paragraph is about New Mexico, and so I quoted that. Look, this was a $3 book in 1936. Carl Taylor was killed in 1936 while researching the Penitentes in New Mexico, and it immediately went right to everyone's minds that the Penitentes had killed him. 1936. This book is dedicated to the memory of my mother. He grew up in Indiana. I think I paid $75 for this book back in the day. Well Country Ranch, usually called the Well Country Camp. I have a whole chapter on the Well Country Camp in my book, Towns of the Sandia Mountains. Carl Taylor was an interesting guy. Once hitchhiked and rode boxcars all around the country and then wrote newspaper articles about it. Was, kind of interesting. Had a real, zeal for travel and exploration in a way that seems kind of dated now. Yeah, Carl Taylor. Yeah, so they blamed the Penitentes for his death, and but it was his 15-year-old next-door neighbor, this kid Modesto Trujillo. But maybe Modesto was a penitente. Listen to episodes 2 and 3 of my podcast, City on the Edge, which you can find on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud is where it's posted. Elsewhere, probably. We have 70 comments on iTunes. It's crazy. It's mostly about Albuquerque, but sometimes the stories are really interesting. And so 2 of the episodes are about the murder of Carl Taylor and feature a 10,000-word nonfiction article I researched on it. I probably researched his death more than anybody besides Marta Weigel. It's a story that would make a great movie. I mean, it's true, and it had big effects. It stopped the Catholic Church from making giving official approval to the penitentes for a while. The penitentes were this very interesting flagellant sect that believed in whipping themselves, hanging themselves on crosses, throwing themselves on beds of cactus. Goes back to 1300s Europe and, beyond this medieval desire to share the suffering of Jesus and the wretchedness of the flesh, etc. That's a great spine. Sadly, Carl Taylor didn't live to see this published. He used to write for Today magazine, which later merged with News-Week magazine and became Newsweek. He was very excited about this. And his editors were pretty famous. Raymond Moley was one of his editors at Today. He was the guy who wrote the "We Have Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself" speech for FDR. His other editor was in old pulp magazines. What's that guy's name? Roy de S. Horn. That guy, Roy de S. Horn, wrote that "On the Shores of Tripoli" song that still gets broken out at patriotic events once in a while. An Odyssey of the Islands. There's also talk that, I really turned over some rocks when I wrote this. Found out some interesting things. I'd like to revisit that sometime, and I will. A chapter of book 2 of my book will feature historic passages about 3 famous murders that happened in the Sandias spanning 100 years that all affected my life in different ways. And this will be one of them. The 1936 murder of Carl Taylor, the 1970s hippie commune murders in Placitas, and the 1990s Hollywood video murders, which ended in the mountains. All wild stories, all kind of coming up against my own life. Strange. Speaking of Carl Taylor, this book I own because this is the book Carl Taylor was reading when he got shot to death. In Barbary by E. Alexander Powell. For all I know, this could be the copy of it. Books do circulate. But he was, this is a travel writer. In Barbary. Belonged to someone in Santa Cruz, California in 1934. This copy. I sought this book out specifically because I wanted to read it. I guess this is my sense of humor at the time because I told my first wife to pop a bag behind my head or something while I was reading this so I could experience the sensation. Now, with PTSD from gun violence, I don't find that as funny. But I've been all over that house Carl Taylor died in. I've seen the bullet nicks on the mantle. And I saw a chest in there at one point that I think was the chest that used to hold his writing. And I've been in Modesto Trujillo, the killer's house, many times. That became Bob Cooper's house, this old-time historian up there. This is a 1926 book. So yeah, it would have been 10 years old by the time Taylor was reading it. Maybe it had some esteem, it had stuck around, or maybe books just did that. Factory of Strange Odors. Ashes of Empire. Troglodytes and lotus eaters. Band name. Across the Shats to the Sandy Sea. No word meanings change. Conquest of the Sahara. The Last Home of Mystery. Oh my God, what a great title. Stealing that. I mean, I'll make an homage. So this is a 1926 book. It kind of feels different. It feels like a sporting goods store made it or something. It's got this rough texture and it feels very solid. In Barbary. No idea. Have I ever even seen this book? Is this old? We'll never know. JK, I think that says 36. Oh, wow. Key to thought, subject. These are the major subjects. Should we know all these things? What a cool idea to systemically approach human knowledge. People did that more back in the day, and I love it. I think it's great. I know people are still doing it now, too, but They're hipster outliers, I feel like. I should just read a really old book like this. I think it would have like an influence on me. Hopefully, I don't know, just reading a big collection of wisdom and stuff people should know. That's why I kept this book. I want to read this. It feels kind of like, it's like very sturdy and it's got decorations on it. It's magical. It's like the never-ending story. Perhaps I'll get transported to a faraway land of thoughts. Thoughts, Papa, do you mean it? Yes, child. But the magic and it's a land? Mm-hmm. The fool flatters himself. The wise man flatters the fool. The fool always finds some greater fool to admire. Fool at 40 is a fool indeed. All right, stop insulting me, book. You know, I feel like you're getting a little personal. Yeah. I file under antique book I might actually read. Lots of aphorisms around and info bites around topics. Nice. Maybe because it's in such good shape, though, it just doesn't feel that old to me. Over the door of a library in Thebes is the inscription, Medicine for the Soul, Diodorus Siculus. Yeah. I'm thinking this book was handed through a portal.